Hi, I'm Ruth Shapira. Welcome to this episode of Inner Judaism, a podcast where you can experience the spiritual beauty of Judaism, and most importantly, almost, the meaning it has for your own life. As Jews, we're experiencing some of the most difficult times in history. The level of hatred against our people has not been in this way since the 1930s in pre-war Germany. For anyone whose heart is with the Jewish people, October 7th will be forever etched in our souls as a day of intense and unspeakable horror. As I felt my own emunah, my own faith being tried, my previous podcast did not mention these events because I felt we were in an existential crisis that went beyond the headlines. However, the situation in this country, the United States, and our country, Israel, is getting worse. So how can I bring a spiritual teaching to you that will have meaning in this time to help us understand what we need to do? For us, unfortunately, our horror is not new, but we can look to our tradition for insight, because the experience of living in times of hate has unfortunately been encountered many, many times before. In Foundational Ethics, chapter 2, verse 5, in Hebrew, which is called Pirkei Avot, there is a saying for our times. That saying is, Uvmakom she'ein anashim, hishtadel liot ish. In a place where there are no men, strive to be a man. That's the literal translation. Uvmakom she'ein anashim, hishtadel liot ish. I love this teaching. A more open translation would be, in a place where there is no humanity, strive to be a person of integrity, a mensch, a person who speaks up and rises up on behalf of the good. Where there is no one else to take the initiative and assume responsibility, you need to be that person, is what our text tells us. I'd like to delve into this teaching with you, using the Hebrew to help enlighten us and to understand a deeper spiritual meaning. For that, I'll need to repeat the Hebrew. Uvmakom she'ein anashim, hishtadel liot ish. It's interesting that the first word is makom, meaning place. Yet, isn't it curious that one of the names of the Holy One is Makom? Is there any possible connection we could make of this? Besides the fact that we are created in the image of the Holy One, B'Tselem Elohim, commentary on Genesis Rabbah, asks why the name Makom is even given for the Holy One. The response is that our Creator is the existence of the world and the preserver of the world. Let's just think about that, about what the meaning of that is. Our Creator is the existence of the world and the preserver of this world. So when we are created in our Creator's image, we're called on to preserve the world. The Talmud in Avodah Zarah 40b states that the phrase Baruch Hamakom Shemasar Olamo L'Shomrim means bless the one who has given the world over to preservers. We are the preservers. But in this makom, in this place, what happens when humanity is at risk? It's our job to preserve what has been given to us, a sense of the moral, the good, of what is right and what is wrong. Not only to preserve it, but as our text tells us, to strive to get back to that place of humanity. The Hebrew word hishtadel in that verse is translated as strive. But hishtadel is called a reflexive verb, a verb that by its very nature needs to involve us in its action. So the translation means exactly to make an effort, to exert oneself, and even to lobby for change. We're not called to stand idly by. The meaning of hishtadel doesn't mean just trying. It means to really put ourselves out there, to lobby, to take risks. The person should take it upon themselves to be a leader, to participate in the effort of making this world a better place through action. So what holds us back from sometimes doing what we feel should be done, and we wish others would do it? We really want others to speak up, others to make change. Often, what holds us back is fear. Fear that, who am I, to be saying anything? A fear that we won't be heard. Or fear that it's just me, that we have a lone voice that isn't shared by other people. Or a fear of repercussions from our actions, that people won't really like what we have to say and will distance themselves from us. Or worse, take action against us. Yet, this fear is immobilizing. It holds us back from being our best selves. It holds us back from being true to our nature of being created in the image of the Holy One. It's interesting that an additional biblical translation of the root word in hishtadel, shadal, means a matter of training. What we learn from this is that the action that we're called upon to do, it doesn't happen overnight. It takes practice. It takes training. Standing up for ourselves isn't necessarily an innate characteristic. We need to cultivate it and to nurture it. But for the greater good, we're called on not to avoid it. We are each empowered to become agents of the good, agents of our Creator. So think about what you can do today that will nurture this special quality in you. What small little step can you take that will enable you to be that person who rises and stands up? Uvmakom she'en anashim hishtadel liot ish. What will help you strive to be that person who will stand up and rise up in the face of inhumanity? Thank you for listening and for involving yourself in the spiritual path of engagement and seeking out the deeper meaning that Judaism has for you. Please communicate with me at any time at innerjudaism@gmail.com. I hope to hear from you, and I hope you'll revisit this podcast. Until then, wishing you a glorious day and the ability to make this day better than yesterday. Make it count.